How do I know my car accident injuries are enough to hire an attorney? You're probably sitting there with a sore neck or a stiff back, wondering if it's even worth calling a lawyer. You haven't missed a month of work, you're not in a wheelchair, but something doesn't feel right and you don't want to get stuck with the bill. I'm Doug Burnetti, a Florida personal injury lawyer, and I've been handling personal injury cases for over 30 years. And I'll show you exactly how to tell when your injuries are serious enough under Florida law to get legal help, so you don't wait too long, miss your window, or leave thousands on the table just because you weren't sure what counted. Number one, understanding what counts as enough for a Florida attorney. Here's the simple truth. If you're hurting, unsure about medical bills, or worried about missing work, it's worth asking a professional. But let's break this down even more. Florida is a no-fault state, which means your own insurance covers a certain amount of your medical bills after a crash, no matter who caused it. That sounds great, right? But here's the catch. This coverage only goes so far. If your injuries go beyond what your own insurance covers, or if you meet certain requirements under Florida law, then you have the right to bring a claim against the at-fault driver. So how do you know if you're in that situation? That's what we'll walk through next. Number two, signs your injuries go beyond minor. Let's talk about the types of injuries that often mean it's time to talk to an attorney. You don't have to be bleeding at the scene or pulled out of your car on a stretcher. In fact, many cases I see involve injuries that didn't seem serious at first, but got worse over days or weeks. Here are some red flags that your injury might be enough. Persistent pain. Neck, back, or joint pain that doesn't go away after a few days. If you're still hurting after a week, it's time to pay attention. Limited movement. If you can't turn your head or bend over like you could before, that matters, even if it seems mild. Headaches or dizziness. These can be signs of a concussion or a more serious brain injury. Emotional changes. Anxiety, depression, or trouble sleeping after an accident are real injuries too. Florida law recognizes mental and emotional distress. Medical diagnosis. If a doctor says you have a sprain, strain, fracture, herniated disc, or similar injury, even if it doesn't require surgery, it counts. Lost wages. If you miss work or your doctor tells you not to return to your job, that's a big sign your injury is significant. I see clients every week who thought they were fine at first. Weeks later, they're still in pain or facing expensive physical therapy. The sooner you talk to an attorney, the sooner you get the answers about what you're entitled to. Number three, the Florida no-fault law and when you can go beyond it. Remember when I mentioned Florida's no-fault system? Here's what that means for your case. All Florida drivers have to carry personal injury protection, also called PIP, as part of their insurance. This covers the first $10,000 of your medical bills and a portion of your lost wages, no matter who caused the accident. But, and this is important, once your injuries cross a certain line, you can file a claim against the other driver's insurance for more compensation. So what's that line? Under Florida law, you're allowed to do this if you have, number one, a significant or permanent loss of an important bodily function. Number two, a permanent injury within a reasonable degree of medical probability. Number three, significant and permanent scarring or disfigurement. And number four, of course, if someone dies in the crash. You don't have to figure this out on your own. If your doctor even suggests that your injuries could be ongoing or permanent, or if you're still suffering weeks after the accident, you should get legal advice. Even so-called soft tissue injuries, like whiplash, can sometimes meet the requirements if they're severe and long-lasting. I always tell people, if you're in pain and the pain is stopping you from living your normal life, it may be much more than a minor injury in the eyes of Florida law. Number four, real Florida examples. When small injuries turn serious. Let's put this into perspective with a few real stories. No names, but these are based on what actually happens in Florida all the time. Take Maria, for example. She was rear-ended at a stoplight in Miami. She felt shaken but didn't think anything was wrong. Days later, she had a stiff neck and terrible headaches. She tried to tough it out, but couldn't focus at work, and the pain didn't go away. When she finally went to the doctor, they found she had a herniated disc, an injury that can linger sometimes for life. Her minor injury turned into months of treatment and lost work. And then, of course, there's John from Orlando. After a T-bone accident, he felt fine except for some soreness. But within a week, his shoulder hurt so badly he couldn't lift his arm. He was diagnosed with a torn rotator cuff and needed surgery. He thought it was just a pulled muscle. Instead, he faced surgery, time off the job, and months of rehab. In both cases, these Floridians started out thinking their injuries were no big deal. If they hadn't talked to an attorney, they might have settled for far less than what they truly needed for medical bills, pain, and lost wages. Number 5, why delaying could cost you, literally. One of the biggest mistakes I see is waiting too long to get legal advice. Florida has strict deadlines, what lawyers call a statute of limitations. For most car accident injury cases in Florida, you have 2 years from the date of the crash to file a lawsuit. That sounds like a lot of time, but evidence can disappear, memories fade, and insurance companies get to work right away trying to minimize your claim. Even more importantly, waiting can make your injuries look less serious. If you delay seeing a doctor or contacting a lawyer, the insurance company might argue that you weren't really hurt or that something else caused your pain. That's why if you're hurting, you should see a medical professional right away and get in touch with someone who understands Florida's system. Also, there are exceptions to the deadlines in rare cases, but you can't count on them. Each day you wait makes things harder, not easier. Number 6, what an attorney can do that you can't do alone. Here's where having a Florida personal injury lawyer really makes a difference. Most people think the process is just filing an insurance claim and waiting for a check, but that's only part of the story. An attorney's job is to gather evidence quickly, like police reports, medical records, and witness statements. Help you find the right doctors for your injury, not just a quick urgent care visit. Negotiate with the insurance company, who wants to pay you as little as possible. Make sure all your damages are covered, not just medical bills, but lost wages, pain, suffering, and even future treatment. File a lawsuit if the insurance company isn't being fair. Remember, insurance companies have teams of adjusters and lawyers whose job it is to protect their bottom line. When you go it alone, you're at a big disadvantage, even with what seems like a small injury. A good attorney levels the playing field. Number 7, it's free to ask and you only pay if you win. Most people are worried about the cost of a lawyer. Here's the good news. In Florida, almost every personal injury attorney, including my firm, Burnetti PA, works on a contingency fee. That means you don't pay anything up front. We only get paid if we recover money for you. This takes the risk off your plate. It's free to call, ask questions, and get an honest opinion about whether your injuries are enough to need legal help. In fact, part of my job is to tell you if you don't need a lawyer, so you have nothing to lose. Number 8, quick checklist. When to call a Florida car accident attorney. Here's a simple checklist to help you decide if it is time to pick up the phone. You're still in pain days after your accident. Your doctor says your injuries may be permanent or could take months to heal. You've missed work or can't do anything your job wants you to do like before. You're worried about paying medical bills. The insurance company is giving you the runaround. You just don't know if what you're being offered is fair. If you answered yes to any of these, talking to an attorney could make a huge difference in your recovery and your peace of mind. Number 9, what happens when you call us? If you're watching this and thinking, maybe my injury is enough, you might wonder what happens next. Here's what you can expect. First, a free consultation. We'll listen to your story, ask questions, and give you some straightforward advice. We review your records. With your permission, we'll look at your medical records and accident details. You get real options. We'll tell you if you have a strong case or if you're better off handling things on your own. No pressure. The decision is yours. We're here to help, whether that means taking your case or simply giving you peace of mind. So let's wrap up. Here's what you just learned. In Florida, even if your car accident injuries seem minor, they can absolutely be enough to hire an attorney, especially if you're in pain, missing work, or struggling with insurance. Florida's laws are built to protect you, but only if you take action and get the help you need. Don't let doubts or insurance companies decide what your health and peace of mind are worth. Reach out for advice. That's what we're here for. Before you make any moves, though, make sure to catch our next video. 5 secrets to potentially doubling your car accident injury settlement. I'll show you the exact steps to maximize your recovery and avoid the traps that cost accident victims thousands of dollars every day. This is the stuff the insurance companies hope you never learn, so don't miss out. See you over there.